Hey everyone, it's Mike and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be looking at the quests module in Game Creator 2. It was just free last week, and so hopefully you picked that up on the asset store. So we're going to go through how to use it and a simple quest system we can implement in our games. So with that said, let's get started.
Okay, so I've got a simple scene here set up with the player, a cube, and a ground plane. I've just got the quest module and the core module, and inventory is only here for one prefab that I need. That's it. That's the only reason I have inventory in here. Basically, the quest module is all you need for this. So if you want to track quests, if you want like a main quest line, or you could have a tutorial quest line, you could create a quest object for that. So let's create a game creator quests quest. And then each one of these could be a different quest line that you want. A main quest line. So you can have a list of tasks in here. Let's just call this the main quest line. You can set it to normal or hidden. Hidden would be used if you have a list of achievements that you want to track. So if you have an achievement system, you can have all your achievements as different tasks in here. And then you would complete those tasks whenever the conditions are met. And that's logic you have to provide in your game. Anyway, you can have a list of tasks here. We click this, we get our task, and this can be task number 1. Let's just give it an approach the cube task. You can give it a description which shows up in the quest journal, and a sprite and all this. Use counter is for quests like kill 5 boars or doing a certain number of things, and then you can have it count to a value. And when it reaches that value, it'll automatically complete the task. But I'll set it to none for now. We're going to manually complete the task on this one. And then whenever this all gets finished, there's a notification that gets sent using a UI prefab as well. And each task can have subtasks as well, which is what this means, subtasks in sequence. So there are no subtasks, but if you had subtasks, you could have it be completed once all the subtasks are done in sequence. Or in combination, which means any subtask can be done in any order, and then any subtask means that only one of the tasks needs to be done, and then manual is just manual completion. So you can decide when to complete it in your logic. So I'm going to set this to approach the cube, and then we're going to have another one called fix the cube or console, whatever. And then we can give it, actually you can give these sprites, they're good to use, the quest icon sprite. So it will show up in the minimap and everything. So that's what we want to do. Give them both the quest icon, and then we'll see how it shows up. So we have that. And then our quest line is set up, and then we want to set up the player. So the player has to have a journal attached to it, the quest journal. And it can be set to single quest tracking or multiple quest tracking. So single quest only tracks one quest at a time. Multiple quests is what you want if you're going to use the quest system as an achievement tracker. So it can track multiple quests at the same time, say the main quest line and the achievements or something like that. So that's what you would do for that. Otherwise, it can only track one quest at a time. And then once we have the journal, we need like a game manager. So it can activate the quest when the game starts. So that's what we're going to use for that. On start, we have quests, quest activate. So we'll do that. And then we want it to be tracked in the journal, so we want to track it as well. We'll track that. And now we need our UI to be set up. So we have some sample UI we could use in the quests UI sample. So we want the HUD quests. That gives you your quest list on the side in this area of the screen right there. And then we want the HUD toasts, which is how the notifications show up when the quest is completed. It automatically does that. And then we want the journal, and that allows you to get into the quest journal. Other ones we can do are navigation, minimap, indicators, and the compass. We'll see those will automatically work as soon as you add them. The bestiary is something different. You have to set that up a bit differently. The bestiary allows you to have different monsters basically and give you information on the monsters, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. I may do a separate video on the bestiary and how it works, as it takes a little bit longer to look at. So let's run and see what we have. So here we have it showing us the main quest line, approach the cube. Now we're not seeing any indicators in the HUD yet. Those have to be set up. So let's do that. So we'll see that there's a hotspot we need to set up. The hotspot has to be in radius, and like whatever radius you want for how far away you want your player to see those indicators. And then you just go quests, task of interest, or point of interest. You could say point of interest for the quest. That quest, main quest line, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure if that's going to work. And then we go here. I think we're going to need a sprite though. Do that. Quest icon. Okay. Oh, just a square. So the point of interest is that square. Let's see. Because we have none, so that's why we have to set the sprite. We could say quest sprite. And then it'll use the one from the quest. So then that's when you're going to see your indicator. But once you have that, it shows up on the minimap and on the compass, shows you how far away it is, and it should only go up to 20, and then it all disappears. And then you can say fade out as well. So you want it to fade out distance. You could say fade out at 15 maybe. Fade in at 15 as well, I guess. Let's see. And then we'll see it fade in and out. If we go out to 15, it starts fading out. It'll get to 20, I think. Then it fades in. We can do that. And then nothing is going to complete this yet because we have to supply the logic for when this is going to be satisfied. With the cube, I'm just going to make an empty child with a collider in it. So let's see, we're going to call it perimeter or something like that. And I'll just create a box collider around it. And it's going to be a trigger. And then we can size it up accordingly. And when the player gets inside this box, we'll put a trigger. Physics on trigger enter. When the player enters the trigger, we're going to complete task. So we want to do the main quest line, approach the cube. So it'll complete the task. And then the second task will activate, fix the console. For that one, we're going to add an extra hotspot to this. And then this one will be on interaction focus. And then we'll do show floating text, interact. Yeah, and I'm going to put a constant up. Hopefully that will show up. And then the tooltip, interaction focus. That's what we need the inventory system for. It just comes with this example. And then we need another trigger for interaction on interact. Then the quest task complete. Fix the console. Now we don't want this to work right away, so it's gonna we'll be able to complete it before it's even active, or it'll attempt to anyway. So now we got fix the console. We couldn't do it anyway because, and then activate, and then it's completed, and it's probably better to put it on another child object. So you can then get rid of the interaction point. So I can do that. An interaction point, it'll be at the center of the cube as well. But then I'll just put the point of interest there. But the second hotspot we can put on the interaction point base component. And remove that one. And the trigger can go in here too. And remove. That way, when we complete it, we can set active self to false. Then the interaction point goes away and it can't be interacted with anymore. The other thing we want to do is put a condition on this. So check conditions, and we can do condition is task active. So we only want this to work if this task is active. If it's not active, we don't want it to be able to be completed. So that's one thing we can do. The other conditions we could use is the quest active, is the quest, there's all these different conditions you can use. Are all quests completed? Is any quest completed? There's all different ones. The ones you're going to use the most are, is task active and is quest active? Those ones, oh, that won't do that. That should fix it. That should work. Up we go. Approach the cube. The point of interest is still there, which is good. And then if we interact, but then the point of interest is always going to be there. See, you want that to disappear when the quest is completed. So you would then change this to be not a point of interest, but a task of interest. That way, and then we could say this one is for approach the cube, a point of interest for approach the cube. And then if you wanted to, then it'll delete itself when that one's completed. So now it's gone. See, then we don't have one for that task, so it doesn't show up. So that's it. And then we can open the journal and we can see what's active, what's completed, and it will show you. Let's reset that. Let me put in some text here. Go up to it and fix the console, interact with it. It's only going to show you that one that's active right now. So you can track it on and off. Turning it off gets rid of this HUD. Turning it on brings it back. And then approach the cube. It doesn't actually show you that description. But you could edit the UI in order to do that. We've got this one showing as green, which means it's completed. The task is completed, but the quest is not. So it's not going to be in here, the whole quest. Once that gets completed, then you get the notification, and then both of them are completed and should show up in here now as completed. No more, they're not in here anymore. And then if you abandon or fail a quest, you could have a condition to fail a quest. Which then you could say task fail if certain conditions happen. Or if you have an abandon task button, you could put a button to abandon the task. You could do that too. And then the other thing is we have events that we can look for. OnActivate, deactivate, OnComplete, OnAbandon, OnFail. We can run instructions in here. And then over here, you have other events that you can monitor on the hierarchy. So all these events are available as well, depending on what your logic needs to do. If you activate a quest, deactivate, etc., you could trigger different things happening in your game world when that happens. The only thing in here, if you want to use these, is you have to use prefabs that are not instantiated in the scene. Like if you want to set active something, it won't work. That will have to be done on the hierarchy side in the events that are over there. So like here, if we wanted to set active something, you can't do that over here because it won't let you. So because this is not instantiated, so set active, I can't say I want to set the cube inactive. It won't work. So that would have to, this would have to point to a prefab, not to an instance. but you could do other things over here. You could update variables. You can do different things. You could probably play audio and stuff like that. So that's what you could do over there. So I think that's about it for the basics of the Quest module. It's fairly simple to use, fairly easy to use, and it's very versatile. You can have a tutorial system, achievement system, and the main quest system all in one. And you've got all the indicators and stuff that you need to track those quests. So it does pretty much everything a quest system should do. Hopefully you got it free last week in the Publisher of the Week sale. Anyway, and that's it for this one. Hopefully this helped you get a clearer idea of how the Quest module works and how to start using it in your own Game Creator 2 projects. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, and if you want more Unity and Game Creator 2 tutorials, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Huge thanks to my patrons for supporting the channel. You guys make these videos possible. If you'd like to join them and help out, there's a link down below. And if you want to hang out, share your progress, or get help from other creators, make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.